Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we're going to be focusing on tips. 6 tips to defeat a taller opponent. And I've done videos like this in the past. The difference being, today we're focusing on my favorite ways to get closer or to get within punching range or to nullify somebody who has that height advantage. We're not just going with the basics like, oh, head off the center line on entry. Those are great. I don't utilize them as much. Today are my favorite expert tips. So feeling undersized, especially in height against somebody, can be very frustrating. You feel like, oh, okay, I'm gonna step in and I'm gonna hit them, and you don't land. Maybe they back up and they jab you at the same time. Or if you get to that distance where you're like, oh, okay, I'm almost within punch range, but then they crack you in the head, you're going, this just doesn't seem fair. How do we get around that? Well, throughout the years, even though I'm tall for my weight class, I have done sparring with many people much taller, and I've figured out some strategies to go about having an advantage, or at least to nullify their advantage. And the first thing that you can do, tip number 1, is going to be kick as they punch. The reason this one works is most times when somebody throws a punch, if you throw a kick, you're gonna beat them on the length. Not every time. Some people have exceptionally short legs and maybe you're against an opponent with longer arms, and there's still a strategy there which you can use, but in general, you kick as they punch. This could be in the form of a front kick. You're standing here, they go to step forward, you stop them. It could be a high guard. You just plant the high guard on your head, and as they start hitting it, you smash into their thigh. Or maybe as they're throwing punches, you tip your weight backwards and you throw a defensive round kick. All of these are great strategies. You just got to get used to letting those legs go as somebody punches at you, and that is easier said than done, because many people, as they're getting punched at, they more or less freeze. And the only thing they can think of is, oh, back up, back up, back up. To be able to stand there and deal with shots and throw your own offense is very difficult, but if you drill it, it's gonna help you so much against taller opponents. Tip number 2 is to have super fast, dynamic entries forward. Many taller fighters will stay at that range that they like, and then as soon as they see you attack, they'll back up and they'll continue to punch. But if you're faster than them, you have to remember that moving forward is a lot easier than backing up. We can naturally move forward so much faster than backing up, so we have to take advantage of that. And if we're very explosive on our entries, we're not kind of push forward, if we're very dynamic, and even better, if we can throw them off with dynamic feints, like we're coming, no we're not, coming, no we're not, then you go, then you have a much better chance of really throwing off your opponent and actually blitzing them before they have the ability to move backwards and regain that distance for their longer arms. That's one that I found has really worked for me throughout the years. I definitely suggest you guys implement this. The best thing you can start with is just getting really quick on your movement in, and then making sure that sometimes you just stutter. You stutter and then go, or maybe a little feint forward, back, and then back in. Those things really help you, but you have to drill them without an opponent in front of you, so you have a better chance of actually doing it when somebody is standing there. The next thing which I have to do against a taller fighter is use counterattacks. As soon as they step in and they hit me, I'm throwing long. And generally, the taller fighter is not going to have loads of distance. It's not like they hit me and I'm swinging and missing because they're so far away. I'll take a shot and I'll fire back. Maybe I'll go with a long hook, or maybe I'll block and get my head off the center line and then hit them. But the counter attacks have to be there. Otherwise, you just end up always feeling like, shoot, when I enter, I'm not landing my shots because they're backing up. Unless you use that footwork, which we already talked about. But even better, block a shot, hit back. Block some shots, hit back. Those counterattacks are a must, and they work really, really well for me, especially down to body level. I don't always worry about, okay, I have to get up to this taller opponent's head, because sometimes it just feels like I'm not very powerful there, but their body's usually very open. So I can just go, okay, block, block, and then hit to the body. Parry, hit to the body. Try that one out. Now, something which you can 100% utilize against taller fighters, especially if they like kicking. If they're throwing lots of kicks and you're going, shoot, this is so difficult to get close because they're kicking me from out of range, they're punching me when I can't punch them, start catching kicks. It helps so much. Somebody's longer and they're trying to keep you away with those defensive front kicks. Just catch it, pull it to the side, and then now you have them. Now you can decide, oh, do I want to throw them down? Do I want to drag them into my range? And then follow up. Catching kicks is so imperative. If you are the shorter fighter, you can catch at body level, you can trap up at head level. If the low kicks come, you can grab. There are options at every height and every angle. And if the taller fighter keeps getting his kicks caught, he's going to stop utilizing those kicks. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, I can block shots and I can get my own kicks off. And then you have a strategy which will start working. When somebody's taller in front of me, right away I go, their kicks, every time they throw, I'm gonna catch them and I'm gonna make them pay for it. Now, something else that you can do, which I found to be very successful against the taller fighters, is to use number 1, clench, and number 2, dirty boxing. If you can improve these 2 elements, and I already have a video on some dirty boxing techniques, I'm gonna toss that right up there so you guys can check it out if you're not really sure what I'm referring to. But really what we're looking to do is we're looking to close that distance, probably with fast footwork, but maybe off a block, and get to the inside. Length no longer matters once I'm here. And if it's in the sense that I'm gonna throw some knees and then dump this guy down, that's great. If it's in the sense that I'm gonna get to the inside and grab him and bang him a couple times, or maybe pull the arm down and hit him, that's great too. But getting to the inside and utilizing these techniques is gonna make height and size advantage just completely void. The last tactic that I have against taller fighters is to surprise them with really fast dynamic entries because they think they're safe, but they're actually not. What techniques do I like to utilize? Well, number 1, I like to utilize the Thai side kick because people think, okay, I'm out of range. And then all of a sudden you slide, you pump your knee up, you turn your hip to get more distance, and somebody who's tall who thinks they're safe way over there, all of a sudden is not safe. Or I could surprise them in the sense that, oh, I throw a low kick and they're like, no, you're out of range, you can't reach me. So I go to fake the low kick and then I spring forward with that Superman. Those type of techniques really surprise those taller fighters. And usually, even though they have that height advantage and they've created extra distance, it's not enough distance to stop these techniques from working. Even if they back up, I'm on the hunt and I can close that distance surprisingly quick. So any techniques that you find cover enormous amounts of distance in minimal time are perfect for the taller fighters. Something that I found I'm very successful with when somebody has 3-4 inches on me and I'm going, oh, I can't really just stand at this normal range and throw my normal front kicks. It's just not working for me. Bust out some of those. I think you will have great success and be really pleased with the results. So there we have it, guys. 6 tips, 6 expert tips, which I like to utilize against taller opponents. Try them out in your training, try and implement them into your sparring, and I think you're gonna go, oh, taller fighters, they're not so intimidating anymore. So if you enjoyed this episode, drop a like down below. If you haven't already, join the channel, get subscribed. As always, guys, train hard. I will see you back here soon for another episode.